They laughed when I spoke English. And 30 days later, those same people asked me how I did it. This is the story of what I changed. And every single thing I tried is something you can start today. Let me take you back to the moment it happened. I was at work. We had a visitor from another country, an important client, and my manager asked me to say a few words. Just a simple introduction. Nothing difficult. I had the sentences ready in my head. I practiced them 100 times before that meeting. And then I opened my mouth. The words came out slow. My voice was shaking. I said something wrong, a small grammar mistake, and I heard it. Two people at the back of the room. They laughed. Quietly, but I heard it. And in that moment, my brain just stopped working. I forgot everything. I stood there, red face, empty head, wishing the floor would open and swallow me. Have you ever felt that? That specific kind of embarrassment when you try to speak English and something goes wrong in front of other people? If you have, I want you to know something right now. You are not alone. And more importantly, that feeling is not a sign that you are bad at English. It is just a sign that you care. And caring is actually a good thing. We will come back to that. So after that meeting, I went home and I felt terrible. I thought about quitting. I thought maybe English is just not for me. Maybe some people can do it and some people can't. And I'm in the second group. But then something small happened. I was scrolling on my phone, feeling sorry for myself, and I saw a quote. It said, "You don't have to be good to start. You have to start to be good." And I thought, okay, 1 month, 30 days. Let me just try. Not to be perfect, just to try every single day and see what happens. So today, I want to share exactly what I did. Not theory, not rules, just the real things that changed everything for me. And I promise you, none of them are difficult. Let me start with the first one, because honestly, this one changed the most. I stopped trying to be perfect. Here is what I mean. Before those 30 days, every time I wanted to say something in English, I built the whole sentence in my head first. I checked the grammar, I checked the words, I checked if it sounded smart. And by the time the sentence was ready, the conversation had already moved on. The moment was gone. I was so afraid of making a mistake that I said nothing at all. By the way, let me explain a phrase here. When you are afraid to make a mistake, we say you are holding back. To hold back means to stop yourself from doing something because you are scared or unsure. I was holding back every single day. My English was actually okay, but nobody knew it because I never let it out. So, on day one of my challenge, I made a new rule. The rule was simple: speak first, fix later. If I make a mistake, fine. I keep going. I don't stop. I don't apologize. I just continue. And you know what? The first time I did this, it felt so uncomfortable. My sentences were messy. I said he go instead of he goes. I used the wrong word for something. But here is the surprising part. Nobody cared. The conversation kept going. The other person understood me, and the world did not end. That was a huge lesson for me. Communication is not about perfect grammar. It is about being understood. And you can be understood with imperfect English. In fact, most of the time, you already are. So that was change number one. I let go of perfect. I chose progress instead. Now, let me tell you about change number two. And this one is a little funny. I started talking to myself. Yes, out loud, alone, in my kitchen. Let me explain how this started. I realized my biggest problem was not vocabulary, it was speed. My brain knew the words, but it was too slow to put them together in real time. When someone asked me a question, I needed 5 seconds to build my answer, and 5 seconds feels like forever in a real conversation. So I thought, how do I get faster? And the answer was practice. But I was too shy to practice with people. So I practiced with the one person who never judges me, myself. Every morning while making my coffee, I described what I was doing out loud. I would say, okay, I'm filling the kettle. Now I'm waiting for the water. I'm a little tired this morning. I didn't sleep well because my neighbor was noisy again. Simple sentences, nothing fancy, just talking about my normal life in English to nobody. Here is a useful word for this. We call this a narration. To narrate means to describe what is happening, like telling a story out loud. I was narrating my whole morning, every day, and something amazing happened after about a week. The words started coming faster. Because I had already said these sentences before, in my kitchen, my brain didn't need to build them from zero anymore. They were ready. They came out smooth. This is the secret nobody tells you. Fluency is not about knowing more words. It is about the words you already know coming out faster. And the only way to get faster is to use them again and again until they feel automatic. So if you take one thing from this episode, take this. Talk to yourself every single day. Nobody is watching, nobody is judging. Your kitchen is the safest classroom in the world. Okay, let me pause here for a second and ask you something. What is your kitchen situation? I mean, do you ever practice English when you are alone? Maybe in the shower, maybe walking to work, maybe cooking dinner? Tell me in the comments. I really want to know because I think a lot of people do this secretly and feel a little silly about it, but it works. So let's all feel silly together. Now, change number 3. This one is about my ears, not my mouth. I changed what I listened to. Before my challenge, when I listened to English, I always chose things that were too hard. Fast movies, news reports, native speakers talking at full speed about complicated topics. And every time, I understood maybe 20%, and I felt stupid. I thought harder is better. I thought if I push myself with difficult English, I will improve faster. I was wrong. Here is what I learned. When the English is too hard, your brain gives up. It gets tired. It stops trying. But when the English is just a little bit above your level, something magic happens. You understand most of it, and you learn the rest from context. There is a name for this idea. It is called comprehensible input. Let me break that down. Comprehensible means something you can understand. Input means the English you take in through listening or reading. So, comprehensible input just means listening to English that you can mostly understand. Not too easy, not too hard. Just right. So, I changed everything. Instead of hard movies, I listened to slow podcasts. Podcasts made for learners, like this one actually. I listened to conversations about normal life at a speed I could follow. And instead of understanding 20%, I understood 80%. And that 80% kept growing every week. The funny thing is, this felt too easy at first. I thought, this can't be working. It's too comfortable. But comfort is exactly the point. When you understand, you enjoy it. When you enjoy it, you keep doing it. And when you keep doing it, you improve. It is a beautiful circle. So please, stop punishing yourself with English that is too hard. Find English at your level and enjoy the ride. All right, let me tell you about change number 4, and this is the one that felt the scariest. I started saying yes. For years, whenever there was a chance to speak English, I found an excuse. Someone needed a person to talk to a foreign customer? Oh, ask someone else. My English isn't good enough. A chance to join an English conversation group? Maybe next time. I'm busy. I kept avoiding the one thing I actually needed: real practice with real people. There is a phrase for this. We say I was in my comfort zone. Your comfort zone is the space where everything feels safe and easy, where you never have to feel nervous. And my comfort zone was a beautiful prison. Comfortable, yes, but I was stuck inside it, going nowhere. So during my 30 days, I made myself say yes to small things, not huge things. I didn't give a speech in front of 1,000 people. I started tiny. I ordered my coffee in English when I traveled. I answered one email in English at work instead of asking someone else. I joined one online conversation for just 15 minutes. And every single time, I was nervous before. My heart was beating fast. But every single time, after it was over, I felt amazing. Not because it was perfect, it usually wasn't, but because I did it. I faced the fear and I survived. And the next time was always a little easier. This is how confidence really works, by the way. A lot of people think you need confidence first and then you take action. But it is actually the opposite. You take action first, even while you are scared, and the confidence comes after. Action creates confidence, not the other way around. So don't wait to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Just say yes to one small, scary thing and let the confidence follow. Now, before I tell you what happened at the end of the 30 days, I want to share one more change. And this one is about how I treated myself. I stopped being my own worst enemy. Here is what I mean. Every time I made a mistake in English, I used to attack myself. In my head, I would say, "Why did you say that? That was so stupid. Everyone thinks you're an idiot. You'll never learn this." That voice was cruel, and that voice was not helping me. It was making everything worse. Because when you are afraid of your own judgment, you speak even less. So I made a decision. I decided to talk to myself the way I would talk to a friend. If my friend made a small mistake in English, would I call them stupid? Of course not. I would say, "Hey, good try. You're learning. That's what matters." So I started saying those same kind words to myself. Every time I made a mistake, instead of attacking, I said, "Okay, that's fine. You tried. Next time you'll do a little better." There is a phrase for this gentle attitude. We call it cutting yourself some slack. To cut yourself some slack means to stop being so hard on yourself, to allow yourself to be imperfect. And honestly, this changed my whole experience. Learning became kind instead of painful. And kind learning is the kind that lasts. Okay, so 30 days passed. What happened? Let me take you back to another meeting at work. Another visitor. And again, my manager looked at me and asked me to say a few words. Now, my heart still beat a little faster. That nervous feeling didn't disappear completely, and honestly, I don't think it ever fully will. But this time, something was different. This time, I didn't build the perfect sentence in my head. I just opened my mouth and spoke. I made one small mistake, I think, but I didn't stop. I kept going. I smiled. I finished my sentences. And when I sat down, a colleague leaned over to me. The same colleague, actually, who had been in that first terrible meeting. And she whispered, "Your English got so much better. How did you do it?" That was the moment. Not because I was perfect. I still wasn't perfect. I'm still not perfect today. But because the fear didn't control me anymore. I spoke anyway. And that is the real victory. Not perfect English, brave English. So let me tell you the truth about those people who laughed at me on that first day. Here is what I understand now. They were not laughing because my English was terrible. They were probably a little uncomfortable themselves, or they didn't even think about it after 2 minutes. The laugh that destroyed my whole week, they forgot it by lunchtime. We give other people's small reactions so much power. We replay them for days. But the truth is, nobody is thinking about your mistakes as much as you are. Everyone is too busy worrying about their own. So if someone laughs when you speak English, let me tell you what that laugh really means. It means you were brave enough to try in front of others. And most people are too scared to even do that. The person speaking imperfect English is braver than the person staying silent in perfect fear. Now I want to leave you with something you can actually do, starting today, because I don't want this to be just a nice story. I want it to change something for you. Here is your challenge. For the next 7 days, not even 30, just 7, I want you to talk to yourself in English for 2 minutes every day. That's it, 2 minutes. Describe your morning. describe your plans, describe how you feel. Nobody is listening. Nobody is judging, just you and your voice, and your English getting a little smoother each day. And if you do this, come back and tell me in the comments. Write day 1 today. Then come back and write day 7 when you finish. I will be reading, and I promise you, 7 days of this will surprise you. Because here is the thing I really want you to remember. The people who succeed at English are not the smartest ones. They are not the ones with the biggest vocabulary. They are simply the ones who kept going after the laugh. The ones who were embarrassed and tried again anyway. The ones who chose brave over perfect every single day. You can be one of those people. In fact, you already are, because you're here, listening to English right now, on a day when you could have done something easier. That is exactly the kind of small, brave choice that adds up to everything. So keep going. Keep talking to yourself in the kitchen. Keep saying yes to small, scary things. Keep cutting yourself some slack when you slip. And one day soon, someone is going to lean over and whisper, "Your English got so good. How did you do it?" And you'll smile and you'll know the answer. You just kept going. Thank you for spending this time with me today. It really means a lot. If this story helped you even a little, you know what to do. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.